Hi everyone, welcome back or welcome to my channel. My name is Lauren and I make videos a couple of times a week about books and fandom things, except today I'm talking about disabilities. So, for those that don't know, I am disabled. I have a lot of things and I'm in a lot of pain most of the time. So I wanted to talk about it because I do talk about it like sometimes, and I have mentioned about when I have surgeries and that kind of thing, but I wanted to talk about it and bring more awareness to disabilities and different disabilities and my own conditions and the way that they've impacted my life. I want to be more open about those things and I want to bring more awareness to those things. So I put a tweet out on Twitter talking about the fact that I want to make disability videos, and I said, what did you guys want to see? What questions did you want answered? Do you have any questions? And I got some questions. So I'm going to do a disability Q&A for this video, and then we can move forward and you can leave video ideas in the comments of stuff that you want to see. So the first question that I get asked all the time is, what conditions do you have? So I have fibromyalgia and chronic fatigue. Fibromyalgia is a chronic pain syndrome which causes pain at different parts of the body. But it doesn't just do that. It's not just that I'm in pain. This pain can affect my muscles and the way that I move. Like, it affects my mobility, can affect my ability like to stand, to sit up by myself, to do things like brush my hair and dry my hair because I can't hold the hairdryer, so sometimes I have to ask my mum to help me do it. It can impact obviously the way I walk. I now walk with a walking stick. I have a walking aid. Sometimes I use 2 sticks on really bad days. Most of the time I just have my 1 walking stick. It impacts the way that, like, my sleep. I'm in a lot of pain and I can't get to sleep, but then I also have chronic fatigue, which means I sleep a lot. Fibro also can mean that my body cannot maintain homeostasis, so my temperature is not ever properly regulated. It also impacts, like I said, I get full body shivers, I get shakes, my lymph nodes can be swollen. It can cause IBS, which is irritable bowel syndrome, which is a condition that I also have as well, where it's essentially that your bowel gets very irritated and struggles to break down certain things, and then it can cause buildups, it can cause bloating, it can cause nausea, diarrhea, constipation. I get very bloated. Fibro can affect your mental processes, fibro fog, so concentration, memory, the way what you're trying to say and finding the correct word. It can make muscle stiffness, so trying to get my muscles to like not go stiff, essentially, like get up in the morning really hard. I've had awful pain recently with my hips, and waking up and trying to move so that I can actually get out of bed has been really difficult with my hips. It can cause increased period pain in people that have periods, and heavier periods if you have periods. It can cause dizziness. It can cause like tingling and numbness in your body. I recently started to get that, where in my lower body I was getting a weird tingly feeling and a numb feeling, and it can cause anxiety, depression, lots of different things. Fibro actually has over 200 I don't want to say symptoms, but 200 symptoms and things that it can cause, and over 200 like impacts it can have on your life, which is awful. Another thing it can cause is issues with the TMJ, which is the jaw joint, essentially. It's a very long word. Here it is. I've still not been able to say it properly. I also have this condition which affects the way I can eat. I've been on a soft food diet for about 2 years now. Sometimes for an extended period of time I have to go on liquids only. I had to do that this summer, and very soon I'm actually having jaw surgery, so I'm gonna have surgery to help the joint and try and put it back and sort it out a little bit because it's a little bitch. So we're gonna work on that. I'm gonna have surgery finally, but that's something which can happen with or without fibromyalgia, but a lot of people that have fibro do also have issues with that joint. So I have problems with my sinuses as well, which sinuses, as much as they're not like spoken about and they're not like a big part of the body, like, I mean big as in like size, not big as in their job. If you've ever had sinusitis, you will know how much it hurts, and they hurt, and my sinuses don't drain things properly, And so they just build up with fluid, which has caused problems with my vision because it's caused damage behind there. I had silent sinus syndrome in 2017 where things started to collapse, so I had to have surgery. I possibly have to have more surgery. My septum is deviated again. I don't know if you can see this nostril is very, very closed, so I have to have surgery, put the septum right, drain the fluids. It's caused problems with my ears. Because essentially there is a massive buildup of fluid in my head that my sinuses are not getting rid of the way they're supposed to be getting rid of them. And this is a genetic thing, and it actually has run in my family for like multiple generations, and I got it too, which is great. So that is another thing I have which really impacts, because it causes sinus headaches. Like I said, it's had an impact on my vision. It can like impact the way you hear, so and which is not great because I've also got issues with my hearing in general. I had a hearing test recently. I've lost 50% of my hearing and I'm going to be getting hearing aids, which is another thing. So yeah, because I essentially just have a massive buildup of fluid in my head, which is really not fun. Not a fun time, not ideal, not what we want. I have that. I also have joint hypermobility syndrome, so my joints are a little bit extra bendy than they're supposed to be, and this can cause pain, and like I'm more likely to sprain things and do that because my joints bend in ways they shouldn't bend. I also have asthma, which I think people kind of brush off as, oh, it's asthma, but it is actually a chronic respiratory situation and I need lots of medication to make my lungs actually function. And I also have a windpipe which spasms, so it closes and I have to gasp for air sometimes. My windpipe's like lol no. So that's fun. So I'm having respiratory physio, which is great. So I get a question a lot, have you always been disabled? No. So I've always had asthma. So when I was a kid, I used to get tonsillitis all the time and I was asthmatic. And then the asthma got a little bit better. It never went away, but it got a lot better and I just had a blue inhaler, had my tonsils out, I was fine. When I was about 15, my asthma decided to come back, like with a vengeance. So I got put on higher medication and medication to take daily, not just a blue inhaler when I needed it. So that happened. And then when I was about 19, I was at uni, I started getting really dizzy and having a lot of problems with my head, which they then found out was the silent sinus syndrome and everything with that. And then from there I had like hospital admissions and they found that my immune system wasn't working great, and I had like long stays in hospital. They were trying to figure out what was going on, but they could just see that my white blood cell count was really low and like all of these things. The asthma thing, obviously, like that was when I was a teenager, but everything sort of started kicking off when I was about 19, 20, which is terrifying because I was at uni and I was away from my family and my uni was 3 hours away and it's really scary. I spent the first half of my 20s in the hospital, which is not where I thought I would be spending the first half of my 20s, but I do have an amazing team behind me. Like I have amazing therapists, like psychiatrists, I have an amazing occupational therapist, I have my GP is an actual delight. She is wonderful. She gets everything done and helps me, and now I'm in a place where I genuinely have got a really good support team around me, which is great. Have you had any bad experiences with doctors? Yes. Yes, I have. Name the day, name the time, and I'll have a story. The main issue with a lot of the doctors is when I was first starting to get diagnosed. So I had a lot of, you're too young for it to be anything serious. Have you tried going on the pill? No, fuck off, it doesn't cure anything. A lot of doctors didn't take me seriously. A lot of A&E doctors wanted to kind of just like brush me off a lot. Very quickly, and that was when I was still at uni, which was rubbish. So then when I came home and I saw my actual GP, like I said, she's amazing, and she was like, oh my god, you need to go and have scans, you need to go and have this, like we need to do a scan of your head, we need to sort out why this is happening, like why you're feeling really weak. I used to think my knees would just like give and I'd like fall, and she was like, we need to go and like look at all this stuff and rule things out, and she was wonderful. But it's kind of it can be a little bit hard sometimes to get someone to fully listen to what you're trying to say. For example, one time when I went into hospital in 2018, I rang my GP. I'd been achy for a couple of days and I rang my GP and said like, I have a temperature and I like can barely move, like I feel really weak. Well, I spoke to the receptionist. She was like, I don't really think you need to see a doctor, so I'll just put you in with a nurse practitioner. And at this point I was like, okay, that's fine, like I just need to see someone. I saw this nurse practitioner, she like took one look at me, went and got a doctor and was like, she needs to go to the hospital. And the doctor was like, yes. So they rang A&E and was like, she's on her way. And I was in hospital for a week. The receptionist had been so certain that I didn't even really need to see a doctor because I was fine. And it's things like that which is frustrating, because they see that you're young, like, you know, they have these assumptions and they just don't really think. And I think that is a problem, because there's a lot of stereotypes like around those things, and like young people being healthy, which is not always the case, which ties into another question, which is common misconceptions you wish would go away and why they're dangerous. That is essentially the fact that young people can't be disabled, or young people can't be really ill, and also that disabilities look one way, and if anything looks different to the way someone has in their head, they're not actually disabled. Some disabled people are in wheelchairs and can't get out of those wheelchairs. Some other disabled people are in wheelchairs and can get out and walk, but you still use a wheelchair. Some people have crutches, some people have 2 walking sticks, some people have 1 walking stick, some people will have Zimmer frames, some people will have manual wheelchairs, some people will have electric wheelchairs, some people can walk absolutely fine with no age but are still disabled. So disabilities come in all shapes, all sizes, they look so many different ways. They can be physical, they can be mental, and it's dangerous to assume that one way is the only way, because then you remove and separate a huge chunk of the population, which is dangerous. The amount of times I've been shouted at for sitting in an access seat, especially before I had my walking sticks, for using a disabled toilet. I am actually disabled, I'm allowed to use these spaces. I've seen people that have been made to cry because they've been told that they're using disabled spaces that they're not allowed to when they are actually disabled. Some people do take the piss. Some people do use disabled toilets when they're not disabled, which is why radar keys are a delight. Some people will take the piss and they will do it, but you have to assume that they're not taking the piss, because you can't shout at a disabled person for using something which they're fully entitled to use, because it makes us feel bad. It genuinely makes me feel guilty. I feel like I don't deserve things when people shout at me, and I think, oh my god, but it's actually not my fault. I'm fully entitled to use a disabled space because I am a disabled person. Whenever I go to Disney and I use the access pass, I get a lot of looks and I get a lot of people. They're like, why does she not have to queue? And you're like, because I'm in pain all the time. All right, Susan, I would prefer to probably not be in pain all the time and queue for 2 hours than know that I'm going to wake up tomorrow and because I've gone to a theme park I'm going to be in a lot of pain. Do you know what I mean? So Susan, we win some, we lose some. Stand in the big Thunder Mountain queue for 2 hours and be quiet. I would like people to remove the idea that disabled people can't be young. The question I hate the most is when I go somewhere, oh, what have you done? When I've got my walking stick, and I turn to them and I'm like, nothing, I'm disabled. And then they're like, oh well, I just, you're so young. And I'm like, and? You can be young and disabled. Babies can be disabled. You can be disabled at any age. And also, you're a stranger. Don't bring up, what have I done? Don't ask me about my life. It's none of your business. One time I was on a London bus and I was sat in the access seats and I got up and left and a woman shouted at me and then hit me with her handbag for sitting in the seats, which was really nice of her to do. It's just the stereotypes that I think I need people to think a little bit about before they speak and make assumptions, because it's shit. Okay, so what medication, if any, do you take? I take 20 tablets a day. So for my fibro, I take something called pregabalin. So I take a tablet for my asthma, and then I have 2 different inhalers. I have drops that go in my nose to help with my sinuses. I have tablets to help with sleep. Well, so they help me have more of a schedule of sleep rather than a very disrupted one. I take supplements because my body is usually really low, so I take a calcium supplement, I take vitamin D, vitamin C and iron, and I also take tablets for my digestive system because, like I said, I have IBS and my body does struggle to break down certain foods. Me and my GP and me and my occupational therapist are working to slowly reduce dosages and get me to a place once I can go back to therapy, because I do 4-hour therapy sessions, physiotherapy sessions. So we're working hopefully to reduce my medication intake because I would like to come off of some of it. Okay, so then we also have, how has your life changed? becoming disabled. So I actually want to make a whole video about this and have like a series where I talk about like packing with a disability and going away with a disability and public transport with a disability and talk about it that way. But the general overview is essentially that it has changed. When I travel, obviously it's different, like because I have to take that, the way I sleep is different. I have a sleep system. Obviously my day, different parts of my day we know with medication. I have an alarm that goes off, and everyone that knows me knows when that alarm goes off I've got to go take my meds. Things have changed. We have to make adjustments. We have had to, my wardrobe for one thing, I had to get rid of clothes that were like not uncomfortable, but like everything in my wardrobe now has to be like a like softer material. Like my trousers, like I don't wear jeans very often, and the jeans I do have are very baggy jeans and very soft jeans. I have more like sweatpants trousers and more like trousers than I do actual jeans, because it had like soft and comfort. But we're getting there and we're figuring things out, and it's all good. And then finally we have small, maybe non-medical comforts that just make daily life a little bit comfortable, a little bit more comfortable. I have my hot water bottle, which is a really long hot water bottle. Look at this bad boy, and it is amazing because I like tie it, I can tie it around my waist, I can tie it around my shoulders, I can like put it between my legs. It is amazing. It is genuinely incredible. Also pillows, just comfort, just softness. So soft things are very nice for me, they're very comforting to me, they make my life very, very good. I also have a pillow desk. When I'm really bad and I'm doing my work and I can't sit at my desk, I can get someone to bring my laptop into my room and I can sit on my little like pillow desk, and it's soft, so it's really good. Little things like that which make such an impact. So yes, so that was my disability Q&A. Like I said, I do want to do more videos, so any particular videos you'd want to see, leave them down below. Thank you guys for watching. Like I said, if you're new here, then I make videos a couple of times a week about books and fandom things. So if you'd like to stick around and join us, feel free to hit that subscribe button and the little notification bell. And as usual, all the links to all my other social medias and also my podcast will be in the description down below. Thank you guys for watching. I hope you're doing really, 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 really well, and I will see you next time. Goodbye!